Welcome back to Stache Club Wrestling. My name is John.
My name is Dante.
Today, we're doing another episode of Hot Takes. What we did was we asked you to submit some hot takes on Twitter, and boy, howdy, did you deliver. We're going to go over a bunch of stuff today. Could be about Raw, could be about SmackDown, could be about AEW, could be about wrestling as a whole. We haven't really looked at them, so it's going to be a surprise to us as much as it is you.
Hell yeah.
With that said, if you want to submit your hot takes, make sure you're following us on Twitter. Make sure you're following us on everything else while you're there. Patreon.com/Stache Club Wrestling, get bonus episode of the podcast, and with some merch in the description. It'd be really appreciated if you check that out. Without further ado, Dante, let's get into some hot takes.
Let's get spicy. Let's
get flaming hot.
Boom. There we go.
Rhea's title reign was mostly boring, and Liv winning it made the title more interesting. I liked Rhea's reign.
I didn't have an issue with Rhea's reign. I've kind of mentioned this on the podcast the last few weeks where the WWE put them in a corner basically by making Rhea such an unstoppable and unbeatable force that she didn't have a boring reign. It was just like with the Roman or even a Cody, it's like it was predictable, like some of the matches where it's like you knew she was going to win the match. It wasn't more of those in matches where it's like, oh, the other person can win.
So I think for a lot of time it was cool seeing her like built up as this new kind of China, this unbeatable like monster.
And there's no problem with it. I just think when you do that, it's like for fans, it becomes a little bit more predictable. So to them, it can be boring. It's not, to us, it might not be boring, but to others, it might be. I think Liv, as a new challenger, I think it's been fun. Yeah. I think it's, refreshing, something different for sure.
I will say there's a lot of people that I would say even 3 weeks ago were complaining that Liv's title reign is boring.
Sure.
So, you know what I mean?
Everyone's opinion changes on those things. I think both reigns have been fun for different reasons. Yeah, I wouldn't knock either down for the other.
It's a dominant face run versus a conniving heel win.
Right.
Sometimes one of those can be more entertaining than the other. Sometimes it's more fun to see people chase. But I wouldn't knock Rhea's at all. And like I said, for a while people were like, the Liv Judgment Day reign is boring, and now we're flip-flopping. And yeah, so I'm not.
Opinions are always changing. Solo is actually growing as a character. He's showing personality. Finally, after being boring for so long, it is refreshing and could be really good for the new bloodline. I agree.
Yeah, I feel like we've been singing Solo's praises for a few weeks now on the podcast.
I think he was set up for such a big role and such a big character when a lot of people, myself included, didn't think he was ready for that role yet. I think we were getting there and they were building him up and stuff, but WWE also had him on this huge losing streak and stuff right before he became the tribal chief. So it's it wasn't that believable, but there's something about letting wrestlers just showing personality and being themselves, not just carrying Cross on Raw. He's can be looked at as a big boring there's this, he has this dark character, whatever. But if you actually the last few weeks they've let him talk more, but on his Twitter and social media, he's a great guy in interviews and podcasts. So it's he's showing that more now. He's becoming more likable. It's crazy how that works.
Seth even called Solo a wannabe Roman, which I don't think he is now, but I think that was
he definitely was
the perfect case for what he was. He was trying to emulate and copy what Roman was doing with the tribal chief, and eventually, like you said, kind of stepped into his own, found his new character, and you could tell how he was looser, he was funnier.
It's his bloodline.
Added him being funnier and kind of laughing and whatever differentiate him from Roman's seriousness.
100%.
You still had that mafia boss sort of thing. But yeah, no, I wholeheartely agree with this. I think he's every single week. I think we see him grow into his own.
Absolutely.
And, be funny, and then there'll be a new Solo meme that circles the internet for a week.
Sarcastic laugh in response to people.
I bought tickets.
I got tickets. Yeah, it's great.
WWE needs to start focusing on the arts more. For example, theme songs, graphics, set design. It kills me to see WWE up their production value on everything except on those key items that fans have been missing for a while. I agree.
Yeah.
I think we started to see, I had it as a note for the podcast later. Well, when this is coming out after the podcast, but you get it, filming time. Damian Priest's new theme song now is, it's similar, has same vocals there, but it's revamped now with the guitarist from Slayer.
Oh,
now does the guitar, and it's revamped. And it seems like it's the first move WWE has made with theme songs once the Def Rebel stuff is now over. It's the first step in real artists and getting back to real songs. So I think, at least in terms of the theme songs, I think we're starting to get in there. But I don't want to speak for you, but I think me and you have for a while have been on the side of like, yeah, we miss these like unique set designs that are
100%.
themed around the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You know, like I miss like when it'd be Armageddon, the entire set
like the
looks like
castle
Armageddon.
thing, or
even
whatever.
TLC, there'd be tables and chairs hanging from the whatever. You
Yeah.
know, I definitely agree. And like they're the most profitable they've ever been. They can 1,000% do it. Like I get like it's the same reason why like this is like a total tangent, but like when like new fast food buildings are built. And they're all built the same. So, like, if a Wendy's goes in there, they can just slap on the logo.
Right.
If the Wendy's leaves, a Taco Bell or a Burger King can move in there just the same.
Absolutely.
They don't need to make unique architecture.
Sure.
You know, so I think it's the same for this, where it's like they don't have to, you know, once
don't
they
have to go
use the
crazy.
architecture, they're not going to use it again. So they can kind of keep copy and pasting town from town.
Sure.
Financially, it makes sense. But, like, I think they can go back.
Yeah, I agree with this 100%. I mean, the theme songs, I mean, you went on about Def Rebel just kind of ruined theme songs for years. So that's kind of something that, you know, more than a handful of superstars could get revamped songs, graphics. I don't know if you saw it. I guess WWE posted a graphic for Gunther Damian Priest last night.
Oh, okay.
And the original one had Gunther with the IC title. Like it was
Did it really?
render with
Oh, I
the
didn't notice.
Intercontinental
I didn't see
Championship.
it.
I didn't see it on the official account because I'm assuming they'd quickly deleted it
Yeah.
and put up another one. But so graphics, they can fuck up. And also the Photoshop and a lot of graphics are like, they like put the title, like Photoshop, the titles are like, I forget who it was, but it was someone's like arm holding the belt completely different from the person.
I feel like Jay might have had I
forget who it was.
But I know how you're talking about.
I think these are things that we'll see in due time, because
think
since
so, too.
Triple H has taken over, he has like slowly like given the fans things that they've wanted, like bringing back old belt designs, new designs of belts.
I did see a graphic the other day. I was reminded, I forget what pay-per-view it was, but it was the Cody Rhodes graphic where they put the women's tag title graphic and it said like name here.
Yeah, I think, yeah, was that like Backlash or something?
Something like that. I don't know. All right, next one. I'm gonna give the ball to you.
You're
I'm just gonna give the
this
ball
one
to you
me?
and just
All
go
right.
ahead.
All right, Lumpy. Modern day World Heavyweight Championship looks way better than the old school World Heavyweight Championship. I am making a citizen's arrest on you. Listen, with all due respect to the new one, it's good looking. It's a good looking belt. I think that for a recreation or to not try to copy and paste the old one, they did a solid job with this. But the fact of the matter is that it is nowhere close to the old school one. This is one of the hottest takes I think we may have ever gotten, to be honest with you.
I think me and you would have me and you do a line on this. That's why I was like, go ahead, just speak. You know, speak for yourself. Speak for the both of us.
We did the tier list. I forget where we put the modern new World Heavyweight Championship, and I know the old one was S for us.
Next one, Cody Rhodes, that is, will turn into an even bigger star if he turns heel. The wording here is, I don't know, I'm not staking a claim here, but what I will say is I really hope, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but I really hope we do get heel Cody in WWE.
Yeah.
Heel Cody is so fun.
I
saw like a highlight clip of him in like his Bullet Club days when he was like heel, and it was just like, he's so sick as a heel.
He was they used to do Being the Elite, and he was in like Bucks and Hangman and Kenny, and I saw this last night, so it's funny we're talking about it now, but he was like, they're like telling scary stories. He goes, you want to hear a scary story? He goes, in some companies you're on the road for 260 days a year, and they're like, what? He goes, you're scared? You're scared or whatever. He goes, and get this, you get no health care. What? No, you don't get it. He is very funny as a heel, and I don't know, again, the wordage of this is kind of like, I don't know how much bigger of a star he can become, like from where he is now.
I mean, he
like,
has been he is this generation's John Cena.
Yes,
and he's leading the company. He's the baby face.
And
so
as far as, I don't think he's turning heel anytime soon either, because he's such a white hot baby face. He's on every interview, every podcast. He has his own podcast. He's so likable. He's just won the belt, not just won it, but won it in the last year. He's now the face. Like, you run with that for a little bit, and then we eventually get to the heel. I don't think he'd become a bigger star, just simply because I don't think he can become much of a bigger star. I don't think he'd lessen of a star. I just think it would just add like, I don't know, another layer to his character.
To his portfolio.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
like he's already on top of the world. I don't know how bigger you can get main eventing back-to-back Manias and now you're the world champ. But yeah, it would add to his resume. You were just talking about Karrion Kross. Why don't you hit me with this Karrion Kross take?
All right, here we go. Karrion Kross is a underrated superstar in the WWE. He had one of the best voices in the company with his promos, badass entrance look, and a great finisher. Definitely gets way too much hate, but I can definitely see him becoming world champion one day. If you didn't show me the name on this, I would have thought it was my tweet.
I don't disagree with any of this. I don't think he's becoming a world champion.
No, at this point, I think that ship has sailed. I think it's definitely got to be it definitely wouldn't be an overnight thing. It would definitely take a little bit to build him up to that point. But I definitely think, like, look back at his NXT days and stuff like that. Like, he was a legend back in the black and gold NXT towards the end. So he has a great character. His finisher is great. It takes too long to set up.
I saw him hit his finisher on
was it Howdy
last night, and I kind of was reminded, like, oh wow, his finisher is pretty solid.
See, I liked it when he did it that way because during matches he sets it up as like a pump handle slam. The build up to it is so slow where it like takes away from it. So if he keeps doing it the way he did last night, I
that
love
looks solid. We did just see them, which we're going to talk about on the podcast. They did just beat down the Wyatt family, Wyatt 6.
They did.
So, but yeah, I mean, they had a close-up shot of him. He's kind of the prominent person now in that storyline with the Wyatts and the Miz. So there's a lot there. There's some validity, a lot of validity.
That is a good word, validity.
In that take. All right, next up, War Games is quickly becoming what they did to Hell in a Cell. Unnecessary multi-man and woman teams coming together for no reason other than it being November and they have to get War Games out of the way. Yeah, we've mentioned this a few times, or the threat of this on the podcast.
I don't think it's reached that point
I agree.
At all. I don't agree with that.
I saw a tweet that said, like, even if they end up doing it every year or whatever, at minimum, maybe stop marketing it as Survivor Series War Games, like, so ahead of time, because then it kind of puts you in the box. You know? It
kind of puts you in a corner of you have to do a War Games match. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you in the sense of, like, if they water it down and they give us like multiple matches that don't make sense, and it does turn into that. But all the War Games matches that we've seen, the first one on the main roster was Bloodline versus like Kevin Owens and Sheamus and a few other guys. That made sense. Last year, it was kind of, they put together Seth, Cody, Sammy, Randy. Then when it gets to Judgment Day. So, I mean, there was story there. Randy returned, CM Punk came back. Right. So it was like a big setup. And this year, we're getting the two Bloodlines. So, I mean, we haven't gotten a War Games match where it's like, at least I felt like, oh, they're just doing this to do it. Yeah. I felt like every War Games match has had substance, has had to build up and a story behind it. If they went this year and did one, because we were talking about they might do a second one and that one might not make sense, then in
years past, sure, to fill out, because there's 10 people you need to get. Very rarely do you have 10 people cohesively in a storyline.
Also, I will say for like events like Hell in a Cell, we would get like 3 minimum Hell in a Cell matches.
Yeah. That's for a lot of matches that didn't deserve
that's watered down and abusing the gimmick concept. 1,000%.
Like we got Roman Reigns versus Rusev in a Hell in a Cell.
I'm sorry, but like there's nothing that gets worse than that. They could water down War Games and push that down our throats, and it still would not be as bad as a Hell in a Cell days.
Like I said, sometimes there'll be 1 or 2 people that sneak into the match to fill out the 5, but like ultimately, like you said, it hasn't been without super reason. Exactly. I've been seeing the rumors, and we'll talk about it again. We're talking about it on the pod of especially last night on Raw with like Bianca, Jade, Io, Naomi kind of standing tall. Right. That's kind of like the setup against a Nia, Tiffany, Liv, Nia sort of setup or whatever, Raquel.
And I'll go on a tangent about it on the podcast, but a simple solution to that and a great match they could run there? 5-on-5 elimination, just like the old days.
A team Liv versus a team just like Jade and Bianca or whatever.
Just like they used to. Why not? You can still do that just because you title it War Games. That's true. Doesn't mean you don't have to still do the typical Survivor Series match concept.
Yeah, I'm
like, it's a big enough match where you can do the elimination match, which is people love it, but it's not a prominent enough story where you give it War Games, which is fine. We already got a War Games match.
Regardless, like you said though, it's unlike Hell in a Cell where like the benefit is glass half full, you can throw 10 women into a match and they're all talented. And it's going to be,
Right.
I'm going to have fun.
Oh, I'm going to love
but
it.
it's not necessarily going to be like as story progressing as you would hope maybe a War Games one gives you. And I think those are our hot takes for today.
Think so.
Let us know in the comments what you agree with, what you disagree with. What was your hot take? What you got a new one for us? Leave it in the comments. Please make sure you subscribe. Please turn on the bell for notifications. Please follow. Please check out the pod. Please check out everything. Patreon.com/Stache Wrestling, support the channel, and his merch in the description. With that said, we'll get out of here. Thank you for being here. Let us know if you like this sort of video. We'll kind of keep on keeping them coming.
Yes, sir.
Until next time, we'll see you when we see you.
Peace.